It was the 27th of January, 1945, a frosty dark morning. Lieutenant Raymondo, born on the 2nd of May 1926, part of the 1st Brazilian Fighter Squadron, was assigned to go on a dangerous ground attack mission alongside the Allied Mediterranean Air Force, consisting of Spitfires. Their goal was to destroy the German heavy Tiger tanks who had invaded northern Italy. His plane of choice was the P-47 Thunderbolt, also known as the Juggernaut of World War II, or the flying tank. It was 50% heavier than the P-51 and twice the weight of the Spitfires that would accompany him. The plane was designed around a Pratt & Whitney 2800, an 18-cylinder monster of an engine, delivering over 2500 horsepower. Its firepower was just as superb, 850 caliber heavy machine guns, with enough ammo to cut a German locomotive in half. On top of this, the P-47 carried 3,000 pounds of bombs and rockets, half the payload of the B-17 bomber. It was never as attractive as the P-51 or Spitfire to most pilots. However, its performance as a ground attacker was unmatched. Raymondo's P-47 was the D-25A6 variant, with tail number 19663. He takes off at 9 in the morning and forms up with 12 other aircraft to head into northern Italy. Whilst the Spitfires patrolled the air, the P-47s would focus on taking out ground units. The visibility was incredibly poor, which forces Raymondo to take on a dangerous style of attack. He would have to dive down at 450 miles per hour at almost 90 degrees, through the low clouds, strafe the tanks, and climb back up, all whilst heavy 88mm flak bombarded his plane. On his first attack run, he would successfully spot and destroy 2 Tigers with the heavy 1,000-pound bombs. Flak would tear up his right wing as he climbs out of the dive, but surprisingly, Raymondo did not notice the damage. He recalls that the P-47 didn't feel any different. With the flying tank now 2,000 pounds lighter, it got a lot easier to pull off the diving maneuver. Meanwhile, the Spitfires take care of incoming German 109s, allowing the P-47 to continue the mission without any disruption. Now on his second attack run, Raymondo dives down, faster than ever before, and scores a direct hit on the Tiger's roof with his rockets. Flak would shred the fuselage near the tail end, but yet again, the P-47 would shrug off the damage as he climbs into the clouds. He had successfully taken out 3 tanks thus far. Unfortunately, his next attack run would prove to be fatal. The clouds were extremely low and he had spotted a tank near a large factory. He recalls that his airspeed indicator read 465 miles per hour on this attack run, a little quicker than he would like. Perhaps he had not taken into account the weight loss. He opens up his 8 heavy 50 caliber machine guns onto the Tiger. The German tank catches fire through its thin upper engine deck. As Raymondo pulls out of the dive, he notices that there was a very tall chimney coming off the factory. Due to overspeeding, his plane had compressed. He couldn't move out of its way. His P-47 strikes the chimney at a blistering 465 miles per hour. Exactly 128 centimeters of the right wing would be cut off. Because the plane was going so fast out of the dive, it would be a clean cut. Astonishingly, the injured P-47 continues to fly. Raymondo recalls the plane shuddering slightly due to the drag the damage had caused, but surprisingly, that was it. Raymondo puts his plane into an almost vertical climb to get out of the flak barrage and attempts to inform his squadron that his plane had taken a bit of damage on the wing and that it would be wise for him to return home. Unfortunately, the crash had broken his radio lines and he had failed to transmit this message to the rest of his squadron. He initiates war emergency power. The monstrous hot rod engine growls as it pushes out 2,800 horsepower, helping to stabilize the missing wing. He had gotten behind the patrolling Spitfires for cover without informing them. The Spitfires mistake his crippled P-47 for a German fighter and begin to chase him. Even with half a wing missing, the P-47 was easily pushing 400 miles per hour on war emergency power. The Spitfire struggled to catch up initially as the Thunderbolt vanishes within the clouds. The pilots of the Spitfire do eventually catch up and attempt to contact this mysterious plane wandering through the clouds. They could see a rough silhouette of the plane, but with half the wing missing, the silhouette was confusing to them. Unexpectedly, they fire a short burst hitting his P-47 in the tail. A startled Raimondo sees the tracers and pulls out of the clouds immediately. The British soon realised their mistake and fly alongside their injured P-47. They couldn't believe their eyes. How was it still flying? With a salute, they apologise for the damage caused and quickly leave the scene. Incredibly, Raimondo would touch down safely, a little quicker than normal for an almost perfect landing, a true testament to the reliability and durability of the P-47 Thunderbolt. Lieutenant Raimondo's P-47 was destined to be scrapped, but he would insist that his P-47 be repaired and put back into service. He would complete 50 missions alongside his beloved Thunderbolt and survive World War II. His service during the war would earn him the Distinguished Flying Cross, awarded to those who distinguish themselves by single acts of heroism or extraordinary achievement while participating in aerial flight. Upon returning home, he would become a civil pilot at Pan Air and would pass away on the 13th of January 1997. The spirit of his P-47 lives on in the form of the modern Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt. Help us keep the legacy of all these forgotten or unknown heroes alive by subscribing to our channel and sharing this video with your family and friends. Support us on Patreon to help fund these videos. Stay safe.